Yes, I'd love to look at your garden update. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so MIA. I'm realizing that my husband working recruiting duty is crazy. So pretty much we've been busy. Things have been happening. One of my children broke her wrist, and then we have vacation Bible school, and then we have swim lessons and soccer camp and blah 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 blah. So it's been a little extra over here. So let's check out my garden. Some things have died, some things have thrived. This is the garden so far. Everything that's tall is tomato plants. Oops, I made it fuzzy. But anyway, so we have basil, basil, basil. This tomato plant at the bottom had two, I don't know, main stems, I guess. So I just put a trellis to both of them and just said, well, we'll see what happens. And then this one is separate. And then my Roma tomatoes are determinate, I think is the right word. What is happening? There's like a kitty cat in the window. Which means they will get to a certain height and stop growing. What's interesting about that is it's like the tomato knows to stop growing. Like, this is the Roma tomato. This is the top of this damn leaf. The stem. And it just stops. It just is not going anymore. But the Roma tomatoes that I have all have a lot of tomatoes on them. Like, there's a bunch of tomatoes like back here. So it's an interesting thing to see. Look at all this mess. They have the most tomatoes, but they're so short. So it's just an interesting thing to watch. And then I have, this pole is an 8-foot pole. And then my tomato plant is touching the top of the house, so I'm gonna have to cut it, like decapitate it. Here's my garlic. Allie and I harvested half of the garlic, like the first 2 rows of garlic, because the back 2 were kind of small. We have that garlic hanging up here, drying, curing, whatever the proper term is. So they've been up here, I think, a week. I think they're supposed to be up there a couple weeks so they store better, but I could eat them right now if I wanted to, but I'm not going to, just because I want to save them for later. And this jungle is mainly tomato plants. All the tomato plants over here, I made sure just had one main stem, unlike that other plant, because I put way too many plants in here. I did some version of square foot gardening. So there's 4 rows of plants. These obviously died. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th row's in the back. Sorry, I made it fuzzy. So I was thinking it would be an issue that there would be 2 tomato plants in front of each other. So far, no issue, because every tomato plant I have has tomatoes on it. The only one that's really struggling is this front one that is maybe 5 feet tall and just now got tomato on it. Like, all of this is nothing. Leaves, or it did have the spot for tomato, but I don't know what this means when this happens, so it's just, you know, dead. I did have a few tomatoes that are deformed, but I'm just letting them do their thing and see how it turns out. Back over here. So my basil's doing really good. I've been pinching off anytime I see like this cluster of leaves, which I think means it's going to turn into a flower. So I've been waiting for it to grow a little more, and then I pinch it off, and then it's growing. So it's looking good. And then some plants are not looking good. Well, I don't know. This is so green all of a sudden. What is this? It's bell pepper with a giant weed. Look at this weed. Bermuda grass is awful. My jalapenos, bell peppers are growing slow as molasses. So slow. They have been out here just as long. Their seeds started at the same time as everything else, but they are just struggling. I have better plants on this side, like this one, how the leaves are all yellow. Like, are you going to die? Are you going to make it? I don't think so, but this is a jalapeno. And then, what is this? This is the bell pepper, but you can see where the future baby bell peppers are going to be. An older video, I bought cilantro from the store, cilantro, and they were fine, and I was picking the cilantro off, and then they died. I picked too much. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Like this bell pepper. Who's eating all the leaves? It's making me mad because it wants to live, but something keeps eating it. And this is a cilantro that I planted. It used to be straight, but we had a storm, so maybe that's the problem. But I definitely thought this was gonna die. It had like it was like this tall and brown. And I was like, that's not gonna make it, but it did. And then this is a jalapeno, which kind of seems like it's not doing well. So far, we've harvested 1 Roma tomato and a handful of basil, and we have 1 tomato casualty because I was fixing the tomato trellis and one of the green tomatoes fell off. So I just put it on my counter to see if it'll ripen. It may not. It may just go bad, green. We'll see. I'll put a picture up of the tomatoes. They're super tiny, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just excited that they grew. I have changed my tomato trellis ideas 3 times, and I'm going to try to put some clips up of each tomato trellis idea. And so far, this is what is going to work for me, is just having this big stick that's kind of strong and just tying it up as it grows and just calling it a day. Next year, I may do something different, more sturdy, but to be honest, the green sticks are fine. I still kind of feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm getting more confident in my trellising and realizing that tomatoes are really heavy and they will break the whole plant. I did decapitate a tomato plant with one of my trellises because the top of the trellis fell and like ripped the top of the plant down, and it just broke. There's no coming back from that. A couple of the tomato stems were like this because the weight of the tomato plant was like pulling it down and I didn't have it secured enough. But thank you guys for watching my video, and hopefully we get a good turnout so that I can make diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato paste, pretty much everything tomato. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.